A new chapter is unfolding at Ibrox, but no one ever said it would be smooth. And truth be told, it's taken barely a few days into the new campaign for things to get real. Russell Martin hasn't wasted time setting the tone. The message is loud, and clear standards are rising, and nobody is safe. It doesn't matter how big your name is or what you've done in the past. If you're not pulling your weight, your place in the squad is far from guaranteed. We're already seeing the first signs of that new reality, and it's not some youngster or fringe player feeling the consequences. No, this could involve a much more high-profile name, someone fans once saw as a key piece in a team's core. But under Russell Martin's sentiment is not part of the plan. He's here to reshape the team, reset the culture, and bring Ibrox back to a place where fight, commitment, and intensity are non-negotiables. And while the manager is laying down the law, behind the scenes there's also a fresh face arriving on the pitch. Oliver Antman, the Finnish winger who just completed his move from Go-Ahead Eagles, is already making headlines, and not just because of his $3 million transfer fee. Antman has made it crystal clear he's ready to debut, ready to contribute, and ready to fight for this shirt. The 23-year-old arrived in Glasgow after a solid stint in the Dutch league, and from the moment Rangers made contact, he was all in. In his own words, the opportunity to join a club of this size doesn't come around often. He spoke to Rangers TV, and you could feel the energy in his voice. Excited a bit, overwhelmed by the whirlwind of the last few days, but above all hungry. Hungry to get going, hungry to experience Ibrox, hungry to be part of something bigger. He said he hadn't even set foot in the stadium yet, but had already heard so much about it. The noise, the history, the pressure. And that's exactly what drew him here. According to Antman, he's had over a month of preseason training. With his former club, played 5 friendlies and even completed a full 90 minutes. Physically, he's ready. Mentally, he's itching to get on the pitch. Interestingly, Antman isn't arriving completely blind to the environment. He shares a connection with Mohamed Diomande, having played with him in Denmark during their time at FC Nordsjælland. And before signing, Antman picked up the phone, asked him straight up, "Is this the right place?" Diomande didn't hesitate. Only positive words, only encouragement. That kind of inside insight matters when a player is deciding his next step, especially when moving to a club where pressure is a daily reality. And speaking of pressure, it's already piling up at Ibrox. Because as much as there's excitement around the new signings and Martin's vision results are what matter, and the 1-1 draw against Motherwell in the league opener, let's be honest, that was a blow. A result that immediately raised eyebrows and brought doubts flooding back. James Tavernier did manage to put Rangers ahead with a strong header in the first half, but the second half flat. And when Emmanuel Longelo fired in the equalizer late on, it felt like all the preseason optimism just vanished. That's now 3 straight seasons where Rangers have failed to start the league campaign with a win. And for a club chasing titles, that's simply not good enough. Russell Martin didn't sugarcoat a thing after the match. In post-game interviews, with both Sky Sports and BBC Sport, he was brutally honest. Some would say refreshingly so. He said exactly what a lot of fans were thinking. That the performance wasn't acceptable. That his players were lucky to escape with a point. That Motherwell wanted it more, fought harder. And that if some players weren't willing to match that level of commitment, they wouldn't be part of his journey. It wasn't a rant. It wasn't emotional. It was calculated. A warning shot to the entire dressing room. Shape up or ship out. And that warning might be directly aimed at a name many fans didn't expect to see on the chopping block. Midfielder Nicholas Raskin, who started against Motherwell, struggled to impact the game in any meaningful way. For a player of his caliber, someone who was seen as a long-term midfield engine, the numbers from that match were worrying. He created just 1 chance, failed to hit the target with all 3 of his shots, and came off second best in both ground. And aerial duels, winning just 1 tackle and losing every header. Now isolated poor performances happen. But this one hits differently, especially given the noise that's been building around Raskin for months. Back in June, it was already being reported that Rangers would consider offers of around $20 million for the Belgian. Interest from clubs across Europe has been simmering in the background. But now, with Martin clearly pushing for a new identity on the pitch, Raskin's fit in the system is suddenly in question. He's undoubtedly talented. There's no debate about that. His vision, his engine, his ability to break lines, they all bring something unique to the squad. But this isn't just about talent anymore. Martin is building a squad that bleeds. For the badge. That chases every ball like it's the last. And if Raskin isn't embodying that mentality, he could well be one of the first high-profile names to make way. Letting go of a player like that would leave a creative gap, no doubt. But this isn't about individuals. It's about building a team with the right mindset. And Martin's not wasting any time making those choices. That said, all eyes are now on tonight's Champions League qualifier against Victoria Plzen. It's not just a game, it's a test, a chance for this squad to show they're more than just words and press conference promises. Ibrox is going to be electric but also anxious, because the fans aren't just watching, they're judging. And if things go sideways again, the mood could shift quickly. The truth is Rangers are standing at a crossroads. There's excitement about the future. Yes, 9 new signings, a young and ambitious manager, and the promise of a new playing style. But there's also risk, high expectations, high pressure, and very little room for error. The next few weeks will tell us a lot about who's ready to step up, about who belongs in this new era, and about who might be heading for the exit. Not because they're bad players, but because they no longer fit the identity this club is trying to build. And one of those exits might already be close to the finish line. RIDVAN Yilmaz, once a headline signing from Besiktas, looks set to return to Turkey. His time in Glasgow never quite took off. Injuries, inconsistency, and an inability to secure a regular starting spot made his Rangers chapter a frustrating one. Despite occasional flashes, like his performance against Celtic back in January, he never managed to fully convince. Now, with the arrival of new signing Jeff Dayet, left-back Yilmaz has been pushed further down the pecking order. He was even one of the players told to train away from the first team last month, a clear sign that Martin had already made up his mind. Reports from Turkey suggest that Besiktas have agreed terms to bring him back. Their club president has even gone public confirming that the deal is nearly done. For all parties, it feels like the right move. Yilmaz made 74 appearances over 3 seasons and scored 2 goals, but he never truly became the player Rangers thought they were getting when he signed. His departure will also bring clarity. Tactically, it opens the door for better balance in the backline. With Yilmaz out, the club can focus on bringing in a left-back who complements Max Aarons on the opposite side, allowing the former Bournemouth man to return to his natural role at right-back. And this change might even trigger another one. James Tavernier, entering what is likely his final season with the club, could finally make that permanent shift into a centre-back role. It's something that's been discussed internally for a while. Now, with the right fullbacks in place, that transition might finally happen. So here we are, just days into the season, and the rebuild is already accelerating. Russell Martin is wasting no time drawing his lines in the sand. There's no room for passengers, no time for nostalgia. And whether it's big names like Raskin or former hopes like Yilmaz, this is about what comes next, not what came before. The tone is set, the expectations are clear, and the challenge for every single player at Ibrox is simple: prove you deserve to be part of this new Rangers. Because if you don't, someone else will. The tension is rising, and not just inside the dressing room. Around Ibrox, there's a growing sense that Russell Martin is not here to simply tweak things. He's here to turn the whole structure on its head. And after just 1 league match, he's already leaving his fingerprints all over this squad. Players that once felt untouchable are now finding themselves on the fringe. And those who were expected to be depth options are suddenly being handed opportunities to stake their claim. But that's what a proper rebuild looks like. It's not about easing into comfort. It's about stripping things back to the core and redefining what it means to wear the badge. Rangers are not just trying to win games, they're trying to build a team with identity, character, and resilience. And the early signs under Martin are clear. He's prioritizing mentality over reputation, fight over finesse, structure over star power. And this philosophy is beginning to shape the transfer activity as well. Every decision now feels rooted in long-term strategy, not short-term panic. Take the Yilmaz situation as the clearest example. On paper, you think a young, technically gifted international left-back would be someone worth keeping. But the truth is, football isn't played on paper. Yilmaz never truly convinced as a type of fullback that can thrive in the high-intensity physical system that Martin wants to install. His positional awareness wavered, his recovery runs lacked urgency, and in a system that demands both defensive grit and attacking responsibility, he simply didn't tick enough boxes. There's no shame in that. Not every player fits every system. But what matters is recognizing that early and acting decisively. That's exactly what Rangers have done. Moving Yilmaz on, even if it means cutting a loss, opens the door to a better tactical fit. A left back who can handle the demands of both transition and build-up. Someone who can mirror Max Aaron's aggression and energy on the other side. Someone who isn't afraid to make tackles, get forward, and take responsibility. And that's what this new-look Rangers is aiming for. Players who are assertive in every moment, who don't wait to be told what to do. Players who want the ball in big moments, but also want the dirty work when it's needed. And that's where things get really interesting. Because now, with pressure rising and expectations mounting, the question isn't just who's leaving. It's who's stepping up. Take the midfield, for example. If Raskin does go, and all signs suggest that's now a real possibility, Rangers will need to plug that creative void with purpose, not panic. It's not about bringing in a like for like. It's about bringing in someone who aligns with Martin's values. Someone who presses relentlessly, who keeps the tempo high, and who can handle the pressure of playing in front of 50,000 fans expecting perfection. There are already whispers around Ibrox that the club is actively exploring options in that department. Not just looking for names, but looking for fits. That's the key difference in this new era. It's not about marquee signings to please the crowd. It's about building a machine piece by piece where every player knows their role and delivers on it consistently, and that shift in approach is starting to resonate with the support. There's a feeling, cautiously optimistic perhaps, that Rangers are finally building something with purpose. Not just assembling a group of individuals, but cultivating a team that understands what it takes to win in Scotland, week in, week out, and to compete in Europe with real intent. Of course that's all theory, until it's backed up on the pitch. And that's why tonight's match against Victoria Pleasant is massive, not just because of what's at stake financially with Champions League qualification, but because it's the first real litmus test for this new identity. Will we see the hunger that Martin's been demanding? Will we see the front foot pressing, the organized structure, and the relentless work rate that he's been drilling into them on the training ground? Or will it be another flat, uncertain performance? Like the one at Fir Park, the fans will be watching closely. Not just for the result, but for the reaction. Because what Martin said after the Motherwell draw wasn't just a post-match soundbite, it was a challenge. A direct message to the players, the board and the supporters, the old Rangers, the one that drifted through matches and hoped for magic, is gone. This is a new project. And projects don't have room for passengers, and yet amidst all the change, there's still a sense of urgency. Because Celtic aren't going to sit back and wait. They've already grabbed an early lead in the title race, and they'll punish every slip-up. Rangers can't afford to drop points while they're still figuring things out. The margin for error is small. The pressure to perform is enormous, and Martin knows it. That's why his approach has been so direct. No time for pleasantries, no sugarcoating, just raw, honest football management. It might not be comfortable, but it might just be what this club needs. And speaking of discomfort, players like Ben Davies, Jose Cifuentes, and Leon King are all facing similar realities. Each of them, for different reasons, is now outside this core group, training separately on the fringes. And unless they turn things around quickly, they'll be heading for the same exit door as Yilmaz. But again, that's what accountability looks like. If you're not at the level, you don't play. If you're not willing to work, you don't stay. It's a harsh message, but it's one that top clubs have to enforce. Otherwise, mediocrity becomes normalized. And in Glasgow, mediocrity is unforgivable. Martin's not here to hand out second chances. He's here to build a winning team. And sometimes that means breaking things before they can be rebuilt properly. So what does the future hold for Rangers? That depends entirely on how the squad responds. If they buy into the vision, if they match the manager's intensity, and if they put their egos aside, this could be the start of something special. But if they don't, expect more exits, expect more headlines, and expect more ruthless decisions, because Russell Martin has drawn a line in the sand. Either you're part of the solution or you're part of the problem. And right now, every training session, every press conference, and every match feels like a test. A test of who wants him most. A test of who can live up to the expectations of this club. And a test of whether Rangers are truly ready to leave the chaos of recent seasons behind. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel And turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rangers fans may soon have reason to celebrate a bold new signing as whispers grow louder around the arrival of promising right-back Harley Mills. The 18-year-old sensation, long considered one of the standout prospects in the English Championship, is said to have sealed a deal with the Ibrox club, stirring excitement among supporters and insiders alike. While the club is yet to issue an official confirmation, sources close to the player suggest that Mills has already been spotted in Glasgow, undergoing preliminary assessments. Having impressed in recent seasons with consistent performances and defensive maturity beyond his years, Mills is being hailed as a future cornerstone of the Rangers' backline. There's talk that the deal was finalized quietly behind the scenes, allowing the club to focus on integrating the youngster smoothly into Philippe Clément's tactical setup. The move, if confirmed, would mark a strategic acquisition for the Gers, who continue to reinforce their squad with youthful energy and long-term promise. Observers have noted how Mills' style, quick, aggressive, and technically sound, fits seamlessly into Clément's modern high-press system. While Rangers remain tight-lipped, the mounting speculation hints at a well-calculated move that may soon transform into one of the most talked-about deals of the Scottish transfer window. Even more intriguing than the signing itself is the growing anticipation around a potential full-back partnership between Harley Mills and Turkish international RIDVAN Yilmaz. Those close to the club whisper of Clément's ambitious vision to field an explosive pair of wingbacks who can both defend resolutely and surge forward with menace. Mills, known for his stamina and crisp delivery from the right flank, could complement RIDVAN's adventurous style on the left, creating a dynamic equilibrium on both sides of the pitch. This possible partnership has already sparked enthusiastic chatter among analysts and fans alike, who believe the duo could add an entirely new dimension to Rangers' attacking transitions. In training sessions, insiders claim Mills has already shown signs of chemistry with RIDVAN, with both players often staying behind for extra drills, fine-tuning overlaps and crossing routines. Such rumors are fueling excitement as supporters dream of a team that not only holds the line defensively, but also terrorizes opposition flanks with relentless pace. Though Clément has not publicly commented on how he plans to deploy his new signing, the tactical possibilities are tantalizing. If the speculation holds true, and Mills indeed forms a consistent tandem with RIDVAN, Ibrox could become a fortress feared not only for its noise, but for the ferocity of its full-back flanks. Of course, no major move comes without its share of questions, and some skepticism remains about whether Mills, so young and relatively untested at the highest level, can adapt to the intense pressure of playing for Rangers. The Scottish Premiership presents a different challenge from the English Championship. And while the physicality might not faze Mills, the psychological weight of performing under the watchful gaze of Ibrox loyalists could prove demanding. Yet, those familiar with the lad's character speak of a mature head on young shoulders, a player who thrives under pressure and relishes responsibility. Former coaches have praised his work ethic and calmness on the ball, noting how he often took on leadership roles in youth sides despite his age. Rumors suggest that part of the club's attraction to Mills lies not just in his on-pitch ability, but in his mental resilience, a trait that Clément reportedly values highly. There's also talk that the player's integration is being carefully managed with a dedicated mentorship program in place involving senior defenders to help him settle. If the backroom buzz is to be believed, this isn't just a punt on youth, it's a carefully crafted move with long-term strategy at its core. Beyond the tactical setup and player development plans, there's growing speculation that the club sees Mills as more than a squad addition. He could be a future leader and branding asset. Some insiders believe Rangers are positioning themselves to replicate the success stories of developing young talent into global stars, with Mills potentially following in the footsteps of players who became club icons before earning big money moves abroad. The whispers suggest that commercial teams within the club have already begun crafting narratives around Mills, anticipating that his profile could help grow the club's visibility, particularly among younger audiences in England. While that might seem premature to some. Those familiar with Rangers' recent boardroom strategies argue that this kind of foresight is exactly what separates successful clubs from the rest. There's also quiet talk of the club planning community and outreach initiatives featuring Mills, leveraging his youthful appeal and down-to-earth persona. Though nothing has been officially launched, such moves would align with a growing trend in football where young marketable players play dual roles, on the pitch and off it. If these rumors pan out, Mills' arrival may mark not just a footballing boost, but a broader strategic shift in how the club envisions its future stars. As excitement builds, the Harley Mills saga continues to dominate pub chatter, online forums, and late-night radio shows. Whether it's talk of tactical impact, dressing room dynamics, or branding ambitions, there's no doubt that Mills has become a lightning rod for speculation around Rangers' ambitions. Some believe he could start immediately, others suggest a gradual introduction. What's consistent is the belief that this move signals a new phase in the club's rebuild under Clement. Fans have been spotted donning customized kits with Mills 2 on the back, even before official squad numbers are confirmed, showing just how quickly the young Englishman has captured the imagination. There's a bubbling hope that his energy could reinvigorate the squad, and that his chemistry with RIDVAN may become a hallmark of the new season. Still, in true football fashion, much remains unconfirmed, and until he steps onto the pitch in a competitive fixture, all this remains deliciously speculative. But sometimes rumors are the best part of the game. The possibility, the promise, the potential. And right now, Harley Mills represents all of that for Rangers fans hungry for progress, spectacle, and maybe, just maybe, silverware. Greetings. Fans, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.